Now we will discuss about scalar and vector quantities. As in physics, we come across many units and many quantities like mass, weight, time, speed, displacement, and many other quantities. But here we have categorized them in two basic quantities, that is scalar and vector quantities. Scalar quantities are those quantities which can be completely specified by its magnitude. Means the physical quantities which are completely dependent on the value or the magnitude they bear are known as scalar quantities. They do not have any dependence on any other factor. They are completely dependent on their value or magnitude. For example, distance and charge, volume, these all physical quantities are completely dependent on the value. They don't have any another factor on which they rely. So we can define them as next, any physical quantity which is requiring value or magnitude as well as direction to be specified are known as vector quantities. Means those physical quantity which need value and direction to be relied or to be specified are known as vector quantities. For example, displacement, velocity, etc. So we can define them as so these were the two basic quantities. Now we will discuss about that how we can represent a vector. A vector is represented by a directed line segment like this. This line segment gives the symbolic representation of a vector. In this figure, this arrow part is known as head, while the flat part is known as the tail. So this is how we can represent a vector. Now, as we have discussed about the quantities like scalar and vector, so now we will discuss about the difference between them. The first basic difference is that scalar quantities are completely specified by the value or magnitude, while vector quantities are completely specified by value and direction. Next point of difference is that the scalar quantities can be added or subtracted by the simple mathematics that we know, but for the addition and subtraction of vector quantities, there exists vector algebra. Means vector quantities do not follow the ordinary mathematics algebra. They have their own specialized vector algebra. So these were the 2 points of differences between these two them. Now we will discuss about distance and displacement. Distance is the actual path which is travelled by a body. Distance is a scalar quantity. Being a scalar quantity, it only depends on the value or magnitude. It is independent of direction. And its SI unit is kilometers. Now we will define displacement. Displacement is the shortest path between two bodies, or we can define it as the difference between final and initial position of the body is known as displacement. Displacement is a vector quantity. Being a vector quantity, it depends upon value and direction. Its SI unit is same as that of distance, that is kilometers. Let us discuss an example. If a boy is at position A, he wants to go at position B. But as he starts moving, he remembers that he wants to go at point C also. So he decides that first he will move from A to C and from C to B. And the distance between AB is 1 kilometer. Distance between AC is 0.5 kilometers, while distance between C to B is again 0.5 kilometer, 0.7 kilometer. So, if we want to calculate distance in this part, so we can calculate it as person decided to move from A to C, then from C to B, and then from B to A. So the distance will be AC plus CB plus BA, which gives 0.5 plus 0.7 plus 0.1, that is 2.2 kilometers. So the actual distance which a person travels is 2.2 kilometers. But if we talk of displacement, it is difference between final position and initial position. His initial position is A and he again returned to A. So the displacement is 0 because in this case his final and initial position are same. Here we conclude that the distance can never be 0, but the displacement can be 0 only in the case when the final and initial position are same. Now we will discuss about the difference between distance and displacement. By its definition we said that distance is actual path while the displacement is shortest path. Second, distance is a scalar quantity while displacement is vector quantity. Distance can never be 0 but displacement can be 0 when its final and initial position are same. Distance which we consider is always positive, but displacement may be positive as well as may be negative. So these were few basic differences between distance and displacement.